o'clock, I call the Vero Beach Tree and Beautification Commission to order. Could we get a roll call this morning, please?
Mrs. Dussault?
Here.
Ms. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. Downey? And Chairman Runge.
Present. We have a notice of excuse from Mr. Downey. He's out of town today, so chalk him up. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from December 17th, 2015. Are there any additions or corrections?
I didn't see any.
Nope. Hearing none, I ask for a motion to approve them.
So moved. Second.
All in favor have said aye. All against? Aye. Approved. So we move on to public comment, and wow, crickets out there today. So we have no public comment. Old business. First item on the agenda is the update of the Oceanside Business Association planner, Miss Ned Haynes. Crickets. The goal of this is to make sure we keep in touch with them so that we find out what they're doing, what direction they're going, because one of the things I'd like to do is encourage them.
I agree. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
You know, they're making an effort. They're getting people vested in this project, and we want to make sure that we're supporting it.
I agree.
And I want to make sure that we allow the city staff to be our liaison between them, because she has a relationship with their landscape architect and also the business association.
Mm-hmm. Nanette is on her way, so if you want to come back to the subjects that she...
Yes, we will. We will save A and B and C, because I don't think we have any. She would be the one who would report on tree ordinance. Okay, item number 5, new business, annual beautification today. It is scheduled for February 13th and 14th, and this is a re-up of last year's program to honor what was done by Dr. Humiston back in the 30s, and we sort of need to lay our game plan again. We know that we need to get the banner up. We know that we need to get the signs out and do a press release. On your packet of information, you have the press release and also a flyer. And are there any comments on either of those two documents?
May I have a moment just to read it through?
Yes, I have one. And it appears in both the section on how. And I suggest that after the semicolon, instead of saying hopefully encouraging others, we should say this could encourage others.
Okay.
And then at the last sentence on the Beautification Weekend flyer, which looks like this, I would just change the word look to beauty. So it would read for the overall beauty of our community. Because something can look good or it can look bad. Mm-hmm. So just change that word to beauty.
Okay, can we go back to the press release, Chris?
Yes.
I would take out the word hopefully, but what I would do is take out the semicolon as well and say, and encourage others to take similar actions.
Sounds
so that
good.
It's a positive.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we're going to take this out, take hopefully out, encourage gets an E, and now it reads, by encouraging residents to clean up their yard, blah, 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 beautification activities over the weekend, and encourage others to take similar actions.
Agreed.
Okay. Want to vote on it? That's good to know.
Any changes in the beautification flyer?
I didn't read it. I'd have to read down.
It would be the same change because the paragraph on how repeats
the
itself.
same, yes.
It repeats
Yes.
itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Now the press release goes out to the list that we have here, newspapers, magazines, and organizations, and your capable staff has contact information for all these people?
Yes.
And I have one question for you on this press release. Are you asking for a phone number to contact me?
I was going to ask you if you wanted your number on there or just leave our office number on there.
No, you can put my number on there. I don't mind.
Thank you.
Then we have a third flyer, and the purpose of this flyer was
That was the one that Mr. Dassault distributed
Oh,
to
that's
different
right. You
homeowner
created this one.
associations, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't see any reason to make any changes to this.
No.
It was good the first time. It worked. No sense changing it.
And
Okay.
Would you like me to print some out for you? Anybody wants to distribute them? Or?
Yeah. Please.
Yes, please. I'm sorry. I'm a little slow this morning. Yes, please do, because I know that I have a list at home of the places who accepted them, which weren't as many as I wanted, but I'm thinking that I'm going to, for the section that I hand out, I'm going to think of another way of doing it as well. The whole idea is just to get the message out. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Did we give them to the schools?
Yeah, if you have a...
I don't think we did.
We
No.
didn't, and I
just
thought
thinking about that.
was a good idea, but I don't remember why it wasn't done.
Question was because there's county and city
Right.
students in the
Right,
schools.
but we didn't really care. We understand that this is a city, but I mean, do we really care if somebody else does
No.
it in the county?
No, that's what I was
That to me
wondering.
would be
Yeah.
very beneficial.
But I mean, at least give it to the 2 schools where Rose wouldn't be, because they were in our program for the Arbor Day.
I can send it over to them.
Yeah,
that's- Very good.
I would do that.
I have a
Yeah.
question. Is the Freshman Learning Center in the high school inside the city limits?
Yes.
Why not make contact with them as well?
Okay.
Yeah, very, very good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a list of advertising suggestions and venues. We've already know that we've got flyers going to the grocery store and library and other city buildings. We've just covered the school. Cultural Council is in the list on the previous page.
Right, but they wouldn't take a flyer and put it up.
I just happen to have the card of the person who's responsible for that who would like our assistance.
Hey,
I was
you're
gonna
doing
say-
better than I did.
Yeah.
That's fine
I
with
was
me.
thinking they
I
probably
have-
want it on the meeting.
Yeah.
Because
I
they
have-
were one of the people that really I was very surprised when they refused.
This is sort of one hand shakes the other.
Okay,
Right.
that's the way to do it.
We're up on the, we'll be on the city website and in the loop on the television.
The green flyer, the lead,
This
is
one.
the one that goes on the website.
Okay, we've got press releases covered. Who went on the radio? You went on the radio
I
last
did.
year.
I can go on the radio again this year.
Good.
I don't know which ones. I haven't figured it out because there was a list of them, but I can do the radio again.
I would contact it's Planet.
Yeah,
Vero.
that's
pretty
where I
much
do
is
it.
the hub for all the radio
Yeah.
shows in this town. There's one lady. Her name is Cindy Getz. She does Beauty on the
Yeah,
Beach.
Beauty on the Beach. I did that one last year. And I dated Netta, but I don't think Netta has her show. But Willie White. Yeah, I'll do those.
What about TV? The Vero Beach channel.
We can go to Marcia Littlejohn because Carl did that last year.
Yes, I'd be. If we can get the contact info for that, I'd be happy to call her.
Great, that would be good because that would
I'll
be
go sit on TV.
I'll
Yeah.
email it to you.
Okay,
that
good
would
deal.
be great.
Christian FM, we can contact them. I don't have the contact info, but I can try.
The city staff puts up the banner on 14th Avenue.
Correct.
They currently, I'm not sure it's still up there, but they've been having movies by the Heritage Center, and there's been a banner on the street, so I don't want to cause a conflict, but ours is only 2 days, and maybe they'll let us put ours up and take the banner down for the
Can't we put ours
movies on the
underneath?
green. We could,
The movie one they've been taken up and down though.
regularly.
Yeah, like they it's just this weekend and then we're gone.
Okay.
From what I've seen.
I'll have Tammy check with them.
Yeah.
Have them put that up.
Okay, so
And the homeowners association, I might be able to get to the people at McGange Park.
very good.
Yeah.
And they're listed in our contacts.
Yeah, because that's
Osceola Park, Original Town,
Yes.
McCanch, and Old Riamar.
yeah.
There is a Facebook page that has City of Vero Beach, and I'd be happy to make the post. We've got the radio covered.
And what about the other homeowners association? Do you do Original Town? Is that your neighborhood?
It's my neighborhood, but I'm not on their board anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
You know, the problem with Original Town is it's mostly absentee owners, and so it's hard to get renters invested in their property. Business associations, I will make the calls on those. I know the contact for both of them. And we have at the bottom of the page here, the city issued a proclamation to be read at the city council meetings.
Yeah, like I said, that was a list I printed out that
Yeah.
we used last year.
There's no sense in doing that over
Yeah,
again.
so I just printed out real quickly as a reminder what you guys did last year, so you could modify it
that's
for
a
this
good
year.
idea.
So we have everything covered? Everybody knows their job assignments?
Yeah. What about churches?
I thought you said you had distributed some of the flyers to the churches.
I did.
Okay.
Go right ahead again.
Okay.
The more people that know, the better. And I think this
Sure.
is one of those projects that snowballs. Eventually, people are going to learn about it, hear about
course.
it, remember about it.
Yeah, this was, the last year was the first one. Eventually it will become
One thing I read in doing history of it last year was a lot of the projects, and of course it's a different day and a different time, were a city project where 30, 40, 50 people got together and mass did it.
Yeah,
If we'd ever get back to that again. But that's how one of the things they originally started with.
Yeah,
was
and they
that.
originally closed offices and
Yes.
made a public holiday.
Yes.
You got to remember back in the 30s, there wasn't a lot of city parks developed.
Right.
And we're reaching a point where we've got a saturation of where we can improve. And maybe Nanette could speak to that when she comes in.
And you also didn't have the laws that require the coverage
Insurance
of
and all that.
Mm-hmm.
public workers with private workers, which could pose a problem. You know,
Do we-
those lawyers, they always create a problem.
Yeah, that's the truth.
No comment.
That's the truth.
Okay, we're going to save a couple of these matters towards the end. Do we have a treasurer's report this morning?
Is part of your package that I emailed to you.
Yeah, it was on the last one.
No changes?
She gave a new report on that one.
She did. Did I print it?
Trying to find my copy.
Yeah, I didn't.
Here it is.
Okay, the treasury report says, good morning. Tree dedication, $902.06, and tree mitigation, $47,993.91.
Wow, we need a
And I have plans for that money.
Yeah, we got projects, baby.
Good morning.
Good morning. I was doing a meeting a tree dedication lady. It took
Oh,
a little
that's
longer
fine.
than I had anticipated.
Well, we set aside all your matters, and we'll go back to old business. Do you have any updates on where they're at for the Beachside Business District plantings?
The pots are all planted and in.
Oh, excellent.
They're there.
Wow.
So the next step is for us to go in on Tuesday and do all of the shrub planting, ground cover, that's going to augment the pots.
The actual landscape?
Right. We took away a lot of grass and going to install ground cover and shrubs.
You're pleased with what they did?
The plantings are really pretty.
The planners.
The planters are a little small, but they're meant to be intimate. They're only, so if you drive by, don't freak out because you can't really see
No.
them. They're meant to be pedestrian
Right. Close up.
friendly. So once I do all my planting, you're really not going to see them from the road at all because
Right.
the plants are going to be behind it. And really the thought behind that was because the plant material is not really seaside stuff, to give it a little bit of protection from that east wind, from the salt in the air. So it is going to be, for the people walking and doing the shopping. But they're really lovely. He used a lot of colorful stuff, and it's all being maintained by
Oceanside?
Dig Garden.
Oh.
They've hired the contractor, so the guy that planted them is going to take care of them. So.
And he's the same vendor that did the ones for the downtown business district?
He just redid the hanging baskets.
Right.
Yes.
So what did they decide on? What were the plants, the material?
It's geraniums and
Really?
salvia and all kinds of different colors stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the things that they had put on their list was not available right now, so he did what he could with what was available in the nurseries. I think they're pretty. It's a little pop of
It's
color
bright.
there. Yeah,
And how many?
8.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could ask each one of you in your journeys to stop by and
Look
take
at
a
it,
look
see
at
it,
them and
yeah. Sure.
give us your thumbs up.
Okay.
This is more what we were talking about is we want to make sure we're encouraging these people. It's not so much about dictating the palette, but the general final effect.
Absolutely. And the business association had a big say in what they wanted to see out there too. Of course, because they're paying for it.
Right, and do they have, so there's a maintenance contract in place, so this is not a vested interest by the store owner to take
That's
care
correct.
of them?
It's all the association's gotten together and paying for the maintenance. So
Excellent. Have we had any progress with Fairchild and the Orchid Project?
I called him, and they, 2 weeks ago, and he has not returned my call. So I'll continue to try to get a hold of the guy that's in charge. But, when I was looking at the website, it struck me, and it may not be, because when the switchboard operator put me through, she didn't say, oh, well, we're not distributing orchids anywhere outside of the South. But it looked to me, by reading that website page, that they were repopulating southern Florida and the municipalities and schools and things down there. So I don't know how receptive they're going to be to ship them up here, but I'll reach out to him again. I told him what we were interested in and left my name and number, and he has not gotten back with me.
Yeah, there were 2 orchid species, and the one is definitely, we're at the northern limits of it, but the butterfly orchid
I just don't know how
grows
many
here.
they have, and if they get a overabundance of people that are down there requesting them, obviously they're going to fulfill those orders first.
Yeah, just the fact that we extend an interest to them, and maybe they come up with another project in the future, and we'll be on their database for future projects.
Right.
And any update on tree protection ordinance and litigation?
That's not mine.
Okay, so what we're going to do for right now is take item C and table it until it's brought back forward by the city staff.
Right. I would venture to say that when they get that finished,
We'll
she'll
see it.
come with it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Chris, I have one question. In line with your encouragement, I wonder if, when we all go take a look at it, whether you, as chair of the Tree and Beautification, could send a note telling them how beautiful we thought it was, something like
sure.
that.
And Nanette, maybe what I'd like to do is offer my time, and you could set up a meeting, and I'd make myself available, and we could go out there and actually shake hands and meet someone who's responsible for the project.
I'm not really involved in it at all. I
No?
wouldn't even know who.
So I need to contact their landscape architect, Robin Polanski, because
she
I'd
was
like
the
to,
one that they hired to be the consultant.
Would that email need to come through the city or from me personally?
I can do it either way.
Would you send Robin an email saying that I'd like to meet and greet over there and just extend our thanks?
For the project. Yeah.
Yeah, that way it's an official city email.
And we might want to do that with 14th as well, because it's expanding.
She handled both the projects.
She did, yeah.
Yeah, so I
you
want to
might
be
wanna-
affirming.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the ways of making them aware that we are encouraging them.
Oh yeah,
And that
definitely.
we know. Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered items 1 through 6. We're on to item 7, Chairman's Matters, and I've got a few of them. Did you expect anything different?
No, we didn't, especially once you heard $47,000. I was
Yeah,
sure
no.
you
I'm
would.
just wondering what's going on with 20th Avenue from 60 down to 12th Street. That's under construction. Are there any plans to re-landscape that?
That's. I don't know. I know it's really torn up.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
county right of way. We don't have
It's
anything.
a county right-of-way, but inside the city.
That's correct. There
So
are
is-
a few of those like that.
Is there a differential treatment because we have the lineal part that goes from 60 to Aviation Boulevard to county administration?
That's county right of way as well. We had to get permission from the county and Indian River Farms Water Control District to do that planting.
Well, my thought is that maybe we'd like to extend that project with the county's permission and cooperation south to the high school. Maybe we could find out what they've got going on, because it's I know it's a right of way that's owned by the county, but it's inside the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that goes on.
Yeah.
And
I'm hesitating only because there are limits to what we can do.
understand.
And every tree I plant is 3 days a week watering for a very long time. I've got one guy and one water truck. So I hate to be the no guy, but I can't expand too far in areas where I can't put bubblers, there's no irrigation, and it's my burden to keep them going. on top of that, I mean, we have the funds here, so that's not a problem because I don't have the funds for that. But, everything that we put in the ground that we have to maintain is less time away from everything else that's already on our plate.
Could you refresh my memory about the grant that was given for the lineal project along the other section of 20th?
That was the Division of Forestry annual grant.
Are there more of those available?
They do them every year.
Would that be something we could apply for? And do they provide for ongoing maintenance funds or just installation?
Nope, it's just the purchase of them, installation.
Well, this is something I'd like to keep on the agenda and sort of continue to think about as we see what the county does, because that would give us a very long stretch of new park space. Just as a consideration. I'm not saying we have to proceed, but
The
I'd
thing
like to
is,
consider it.
they may not, with what they're doing, they may not want anything in there.
Right.
I don't really. Well, I'm not going to say that.
Would this be something I could chat with like city planners or city manager to find out what the goals of that project is? Because they're doing a lot of work. They're burying the drainage lines.
Yeah,
and
they
everything.
may not want trees on top of all that stuff. I
Right.
don't know what's going in the ground there, but it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
I was asked about this by several members on the city council to find out, and so I want to do my due diligence. So this would be, the city manager would be the best person to go to, or planning?
Or who's actually doing the work there?
The county.
The county.
The county.
Is, okay. Probably city manager then, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, item B. When we were doing the possible locations for the Centennial Tree Project, it was found that there wasn't really a boulevard, but voids. And what I'd like to do is institute a 5 to 10 year program to fill those voids as applicable with new oak trees. I think that would be a project that would help solidify our Tree City USA, would be in keeping with Arbor Day, and give us new locations to plant trees. I understand there's spots where it might be one tree here, two trees there, but I think it would be a valuable thing for the long-term history of the city of Vero Beach.
And that would essentially be our contribution to the centennial celebration.
No, I think this is on top of it.
Okay.
You know, because if you look at like the intersection of 14th Avenue and 20th Street, there's an oak tree on one corner, but on two corners there's not. And we could, over time, start identifying locations where we could install a tree. Just like what was done on Victory Boulevard. As the laurel oaks started dying, they were replaced so that we maintain the canopy on the major streets of Vero. Now, granted, there's some places we won't be able to plant due to utilities, overhead wires, underground right-of-way, whatever it might be, but I think it's a project of merit.
I agree.
Thoughts?
We've had the right-of-way discussion before. Right-of-ways are where utilities are.
Right.
That's the only place utilities are. Utilities do not get placed in private property.
Right.
So if you have a right-of-way, there are utilities there. I shoehorn those trees on Victory Boulevard in. Very delicately, because there's all kinds of utilities in there. And the only reason we're doing that is because it's an ongoing thing. I had chatted a little bit with my boss, Monty Falls, about this, and he had a really good idea. If we wanted to look at something like this, where you've got little holes, and there's not a heck of a lot of them, but most of them are on streets where you have either residences or you have businesses. They're not in fields. They're not on city property. It might be worthwhile to look at something that involves the property owners to buy into having trees installed in front of their homes. Because even though it is the right of way, you always feel like it's your yard out to the road because you're mowing it and everything.
Right.
If we had some kind of public-private partnership where we coordinated the installation of them, the purchase and installation, and they buy in the maintenance of them, because they're the ones that are going to be watering them, they're the ones that are going to have to prune them, take care of them, whatever. In other words, if we come in and we say, we're putting a tree here because we're doing this project, and that person doesn't want a tree, it doesn't really go to a lot of goodwill. Some people choose to not have trees in their yard.
Right, I was just going to say that.
I mean, some
yeah.
people choose to
Yeah.
not have trees in their
They do.
yard,
Yeah.
you know, because they don't want the mess. They don't want, oh my gosh, this is going to fall over. I don't know that it's really a goodwill thing to say we are going to do this and you don't have any
Right.
choice.
No, I
so and there's a lot of communities. I was looking at Orlando that has that kind of thing where you can have the city plant a tree for you, and then it's yours, and you take care of it.
Right. Well, they do
And
that.
they, you know, you give them guidelines, and
Right.
you know,
Right. Yeah.
so
They
we
do
have
that
the-
a lot in Connecticut with dogwoods because it's
Oh, sure.
the state tree.
Right,
they
and
will
there's
come in.
certainly enough funds in the mitigation account, the $47,000, to do something like that. So I actually, you know, and I know that I'm the one that said all I found was little holes here and there. I didn't write that down, so we'd have to get more of a,
Well, like I
you know,
said, this
sectors and, you know, here's what. But let me just make the comment about the Tree City applicability for us. Tree City USA requires that you spend a certain dollar amount per capita. We have around 15,000 residents, and I think it's like $5 or something like that. It's really low.
Per
Just
capita.
public works in what we do in our maintenance and our plantings that we do every year, just public works is triple what we need to do.
Yeah, okay.
Then you add in what T&D does. All of the line clearance trimming all goes towards Tree City USA. We are in absolutely no way, shape, or form ever going to lose our Tree City USA status based on what their criteria is.
Right. I guess what I'm thinking is that this is a long-term goal, and if it takes a year to establish where these locations are, so be it. And granted, we're meeting our criteria to maintain our tree city status. Why not raise the bar? Why not become a tree city that sets the standards for other cities to follow? Instead of just meeting the per capita requirement or doubling or tripling it, why not come up with a program that says we're taking the initiative to go the extra mile?
I hear you, but I don't think they ever make that kind of comparison. I don't think there's a spreadsheet. Like, I don't see what other
Like
cities are
platinum
doing. You know,
goals,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not so much what they think, but it's what we're presenting to our voting population is we're doing more than we're being asked to do.
Again, you know, it's not something that my division would be able to take on planting trees all over town and taking care of them, because when you plant a tree 3 days a week, you have to water it, and our standard is doing that for a year.
Yeah.
What if it was a program where we subbed the work out and included the maintenance of the tree for 1 year as part of the installation process?
I
Which
don't know whether
would-
we can do that with public funds.
Well, when you do a project, do you hire vendors to do
Well,
the work?
you're talking about using the money that you have in,
Right,
in the tree
yeah,
mitigation.
right.
No, I don't have, you know, that kind of.
No, just as a question, because I know I have to go before city council.
Do I hire what?
If you do a landscape project, it's done all in-house,
Yeah.
all with cities. So
Unless I'm putting big trees in, but I don't
But
usually
then-
plant trees. But
so
every,
this wouldn't be a precedent for a vendor to come on city property and complete a project.
oh no, the dedication trees are all done by contractors.
Okay,
But they don't maintain them.
right. So I'm just thinking if this would alleviate some of the burden upon the city staff for the maintenance and watering of them for a year, if we came up with a program that said as part of the planning price, it includes a year of ongoing maintenance.
But then what happens after the first year?
After the year, they're pretty much established.
Yeah,
Oh,
but again,
okay.
you still have to add the maintenance part of it, because when you put a tree in somebody's right of way, whatever grows over onto their property is their responsibility for maintenance. The city only takes care of
The streets.
sidewalks and
Yeah.
our streets.
Understood.
So, again, you're going to have a buy-in from whatever property owner you're putting that tree in front of. So it has to be that kind of, or I think it needs to be that kind of program where we're not just saying we are putting a tree here.
Well,
Right.
again, maybe, Chris, the best thing to do would be to take the time to actually identify the spots and then see which spots present problems, which spots don't, and then evaluate them. And if it's an ongoing project, we'll do the ones that are easy first, and then we'll tackle the ones that are a little bit more difficult.
I couldn't agree more.
Because you're talking about live oaks only.
Well, yeah, that would be, the preferred tree. It's got the longest
So if you have
lifespan.
overhead lines, you're not going to put a live oak there.
No.
And again, typically you're going to run into, and if you talk to the people over in water and sewer, they will absolutely 100% every time say no trees in the right of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, if you have to come in there and dig it up, that tree's going. They have absolute right to do whatever they want in that right of way.
Yeah.
So you go through all that planting and maintenance and everything, and then something fails, and they got to get in there, and the tree's gone.
Well, I mean, that's my point about the difficulty factor. If it's an impossibility, we reject it.
Right.
But I think first we have to identify
Sure.
the
Couldn't agree
holes.
more.
Okay.
So what I would ask of commission members is that as you ride around, jot down some locations that you would think would be viable options.
Okay, and then we can investigate.
Even if it's a tree here to fill in a line along a boulevard. Well, let's say there's 5 or 6 trees on 6 blocks, and block number 2 doesn't have a tree on it.
Right. Okay.
I have something to add to that, and I know I've asked you this before, Nanette. When people do dedicatory trees, and I know it's like saturated in certain places, in a lot. We talked about that. Would this be a project to give people an option of, your tree could go on 2076, whatever, Navarre, or I wonder how that would work.
You want to have somebody, I don't think anybody would want their plaque to the person that they're dedicating the tree to on somebody else's property.
I don't know. I've seen it done in other places.
Yeah,
A stranger having a tree with a plaque in front of your yard,
Yeah.
that's kind of odd to me.
one of the nice things
No,
about
I've seen it. No, that's how I got the idea.
Wow.
I didn't brainstorm it myself. I've seen it in other towns.
Well, again, that
Same as like
property owner would
benches
have
and
to-
stuff.
Property owner would have to agree to that.
Yeah.
Because and then you've got wooden plaques in these random places that I don't know.
No. I've just seen it. That's
Yeah.
why I'm bringing it up.
Well, I think you've hit on the nail on the head is that we start developing a chart, a
List.
graph, a map, color coding a map to possible locations. And then as we narrow it down, we can say that these options are simple. These options are challenging. These options are impossible. And get the easiest ones done first. Got to do something with that money.
Got to do it quick.
Other matters.
I would like us to, perhaps not today, because we've got a lot on our plate to do the beautification weekend, but I would like us to start thinking about the Centennial Committee, because if I remember correctly, when we raised the issue before of going to the City Council to ask, well, do you have a Centennial Committee? That might be a good thing for us to do.
I will tell you that I went before the city council Tuesday night
Good.
to introduce myself, and I laid out 6 goals, and one of them is the Centennial Tree Project.
Okay.
And we'll see what they say. Every one of the council members was very favorable of what was presented,
Okay.
and so I'm going to continue that conversation.
But more than just the project, I know that when you are going to celebrate something of this magnitude, you need to start with a committee very early on.
Oh yeah, I couldn't
And
agree
the
more.
earlier you begin, the easier the whole project is. And so, I know we all are doing a million things, but I would love to be part of whatever. Don't have to be leaders, but part of a Centennial Committee, because if it widens out, you just get so much more done.
Yeah, so if that became a reality, you'd be welcome to sit on that commission. There's an old adage, the best form of fire control is fire prevention.
Right. Yeah.
As far as other matters for me, one of the 2 things I'd like to keep on our focus is the Arbor Day celebration, including the urban forester in it.
Okay.
And the second thing is the 4th grade forestry program, which did not happen this year. And maybe the thought is that it didn't happen because of the trees. And so maybe we could approach the school staff and say, well, we'd like to still continue the program, but instead of handing out trees, hand out knowledge. Because knowledge doesn't make a mess. Knowledge always survives. It doesn't die in its 6 months. because we gave them the encouragement of a competition and awards and didn't work. So maybe we have to relook at that program, making sure it fits within the fourth grade forestry's criteria. And maybe, like I said, it's adding them and encourage them to understand the value of trees more than giving them a tree.
Okay.
So then that's about it. Other than I want to thank each one of you, but at the same time, I want to challenge each one of you to take a vested interest in this commission, to make a change for the city on a long-term basis, so that in 10 years, 20 years, we will have left our mark upon the city of Vero Beach. Members matters. Hearing none, the next meeting will be February 18th, 2016. Please mark your calendars, and I ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second.
So hearing, this meeting is now brought to a close. Thank you very much.
Thank